Good morning. This is Doug and Cheryl Samples from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We have been here now for about 17 years. I'm teaching at Southern Nazarene University, and Cheryl is teaching at the Northridge Elementary School in second grade. I remember it was the very last day of March 1982 that we drove over the Tehachapi Pass and into the Central Valley for the very first time. We were both 29 years old. Scott was 2 years old and Mark was 9 months old. And we had a lot of great memories during our 9.5 years there. A lot of fun with the talent show, with things that we won't repeat here on camera. But also a lot of sacred moments in the baptisms that we had when we would open the doors that Preston Gandy made in honor of Rick Richards. A lot of Christmas family communion evenings with families around the altar that would become benchmarks. I also enjoyed having the Hmong children and adults come from across the street and come over to be a part of our family. Lots of great days.
I have fond memories too. I'll just mention a few. One would be the boys on the front row of the church. And we didn't have children's church, so we had pairs of boys. We had the Samples boys and the Edward boys and the Bishop boys and the Burkthorpe boys. And I would grab an adult and say, please sit at the end of this pew so we don't add any more boys. I also remember the musicals and how much fun it was to start preparing and practicing in October. Those were great successes, and I always got a new dress out of that every Christmas. And a lot of that success was my quiet partner, Stella Lynn, who was great with backdrops and costumes. One of my funniest memories was when we needed to do something about the nursery. It was in pretty sad shape, and so we had ideas to go to the church board. And just before it was time for me to present, Karen Roberts said to me, well, good luck, Cheryl. They've never passed anything before that we've asked. And so I got this brilliant idea that I would take the church board down into the nursery, and I would close the door, and I would make sure there was a really good dirty diaper in the bathroom. And as I was presenting, it wasn't very long before Al Aubrey said, Mrs. Samples, if you please let us out of this room, you can have anything you want. And I did get the things that I needed for the nursery.
And the young families enjoyed that for their children and the babies and the children's musicals. I also appreciated the senior adults at Trinity. And I'm going to try to name a couple of them. I'll miss somebody, but Mrs. Sullivan and Mrs. Baldwin, Jessie Toon, our California grandma, the Aubreys, Al and Colleen Aubrey, Woody and Zina Hickey, Hall and Verlyn Swaim, Nona Stagner. And even though they weren't sure what to do always with this little young pastor that was coming up with new ideas all the time, but they always prayed for me, and I always appreciated that.
Highlight also was family camp. Family camp was a really big thing on the district, still is, but that's where our boys learned to fish, that's where we played games, that's where we grew spiritually, and those are lifelong memories for our boys and for us. And even though we pastored a number of great churches, I want to let you know this morning that out of all of those churches and all those great adventures, Fresno Trinity has had most of my heart. And you have my heart this morning. I love you, and I pray for you today.
One of my great memories is the day that we lined people up all the way across the front of the church from one side of the altar to the other, maybe 20 to 25 people. And this person had been invited by this person, who had been invited by this person, all the way down to the end of Larry and Ruby Drew, and their invitation to their friends had started this whole line of people. We had great days. Today is a day to celebrate those great days and the life that we enjoyed there. But I also want to affirm to us the goodness of God and the faithfulness of God, that what He is doing in our lives, in your city and my city today, He is going to continue to be faithful. Let's celebrate what He has done in the past and celebrate what He's going to do in the future. God bless you. We love you this morning. Our prayers are with you.